Let's make this fleeting moment last forever. So tell me what you're waiting for.
We're Mike and Betsy. Over the past year, we quit our jobs, sold everything, and bought a sailboat to explore the world with our 15-year-old daughter, Ellie. Our 44-foot sailboat named Rogue Fun is our floating home. In our last episode, we explored St. Augustine while we waited to get into a marina for some repairs. Join us this time as we get lots of boat jobs done in just a few short weeks. Rogue Fun is now on the hard, which means she's out of the water on hard ground. We're still able to live aboard while on the hard, but we will be climbing up and down the ladder several times each day. Knowing our time is limited, we didn't waste any time getting started with our to-do list. First up is to polish the anchor and wash down the anchor chain. Rogue Fun has a 66-pound anchor with 300 feet of chain, painted every 25 feet so we know how much we're letting out. Somewhere in there is a huge cockroach. I bet it's a nice place for a cockroach. So we're going to be putting... How did you see it? Did you lift something out?
I lifted these things and it was underneath.
Hey, there's some... No.
That's weak. Could be.
We put a little treat in here for you.
These the cockroach.
Nothing?
There's one in here.
Well...
It's not that big. It's only like that.
This is the first time in months that we've come across other kids. There are live-aboard families at this marina with kids of all ages, so that's great for Ellie.
So that's 30.
Ooh, 30 points.
Right here? Right here.
Regular. So this is our cockroach locker.
It's getting clean today.
One of our biggest tasks was to scrub out and inventory all of the deck lockers.
That little sealant there has eroded away a little bit over time, and now it's disgusting until we scrub it down. So we were washing the boat on the other side and realized we have to clean that off first or it's just going to keep streaking. But when it's done, it looks a little bit more like that, and it'll look a whole lot better.
Usually the decks stay pretty clean with rain, but we gave them a good soapy scrub down. The temperatures are heating up. We were wearing our jackets when we first arrived, but now the temperatures are soaring into the 90s. At anchor, that's usually not too bad because of the breezes on the water, but in a boatyard, it's sweltering. We have a wind scoop called a breeze bandit. We attach it over Ellie's hatch and use some lines to keep it upright. It's designed to catch the wind from any direction. It has chambers that align themselves according to wind direction, and it funnels the breeze down into and through the boat. On the way to drop off recycling, I stumbled upon another historic area of St. Augustine. The oldest house in St. Augustine is a National Historic Landmark that dates back to the early 1700s. It's a beautiful walk along the Matanzas River. with lots of wildlife. It's always great to connect with friends from home.
Hey! Did he?
I was so excited to get a visit from a teacher friend from Wisconsin. Some friends from church were also in St. Augustine, and it was fun to spend the afternoon together. We had been noticing a diesel smell, and when we investigated, we found a small diesel leak under the primary fuel filter by the diesel tank that's located under our bed, which means we sleep on top of about 75 gallons of fuel each night. This is our first real self-maintenance on the boat, so we watched lots of YouTube videos and read lots of information about it. So the problem...
This was the problem with the leak. Instead of being on here straight and in the middle, this was up to the side like that, allowing for a really poor seal on that gasket.
Ellie loves sushi, so we researched online and figured out how to make it ourselves with no special equipment. Our placemat served quite well as a sushi mat.
I'm gonna be
So
surprised.
now that you kind of have it over, you're kind of gonna pull it back and crimp it so it can stay kind of.
Look at this.
And then I would grab the plastic wrap. Okay, and then, oops, but don't roll the plastic wrap in, I guess. You want to just do it without the plastic wrap?
It's gonna be very messy, but
Okay. Hey, that actually kind of turned out. So what do you think of making sushi for your first time?
it was definitely easier than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
A lot less messy.
Yum. So Florida Yacht Services is here, and they are replacing all of our tubing, or the sanitation hoses with the toilets. We have noticed since we moved on board that, especially when it gets hot, everything just smells pretty bad. And we're not sure, but we think that they're the original sanitation hoses, so it'll be a good thing to replace them. In order to get ready for the sanitation hose replacement, we removed the cushions from our seating area, exposing everything underneath. And then we left them to their business.
So it sounds like it was good that I got out when I did.
Yes. I was trying to get the umbrellas out, and it was like, wah, wah.
It even smelled bad up in the cockpit.
So this is how far we are from the boat, and we could still smell it from here. I do not envy that guy at all. We're gonna go out to breakfast so we can get out of the boat for a little while.
Look at that long skinny house.
Everything very clean.
Looks nice, regardless. But
We had breakfast at the Blue Hen. It was a cozy little restaurant decorated with all sorts of hens. As soon as I saw the menu, I knew what I wanted. Mike had biscuits and gravy. Ellie had a bacon and egg breakfast sandwich. Everything was delicious. Once we returned, we learned that they were only halfway done, so we decided to stay in a hotel for the night, considering we could still smell our boat from the road. Nope. So we're ending up having to stay at a hotel tonight because
we've got a stinky boat.
yeah, they had to stop halfway through the job of replacing the sanitation hoses. So we're staying at a hotel tonight, and we just walked to get dinner, and there's a big thunderstorm coming, so we're trying to walk really quickly. So Ellie's trying to convince us that it's not too cold in this unheated pool.
Actually.
When we got back the next day, we still had a few hours to wait until they were finished. Ellie and I did schooling in the middle of a busy and loud boatyard. It was so nice and pleasant smelling to have our saloon seating back again. We had been searching throughout the boat for the low table legs since we moved aboard, and with the help of the original owner, we finally located them. These legs can transition the table in order to provide an additional berth that we can use if we have guests aboard. With a few cushions, we can be open for business. Alright, I'm pretty embarrassed. I was cleaning up after the sanitation guys were here, and I saw some sawdust way down in one of the bilges, and I thought, hey, I'm gonna shine my light down there and see if I can vacuum it out.
Flashlight?
No, I used my iPhone light, and I dropped it way... No, I hope I don't drop the GoPro. And we're now trying to get it out because the water maker is down there, so Mike is going to try through the engine compartment. Okay, so we're going to try to see it through there, and I've got a tongs to see if we can reach it. But it's like, wait, it's underneath here, and we can't access that. And it's sloped this side of the boat.
I see the phone.
You can see it?
And can I get the angle on it? Oh, of course.
No? You were able to push it up a little bit, though?
Yep.
I can see the light from the phone. I can see.
Okay.
Close, like we can see it.
No, if I can get something that would actually just grip it well, like this thing I worry about with the silicone,
Uh-huh.
because I can grab either side of it right now.
Okay.
I just don't think that I could pull it up and get it out of here because my arm is going straight down.
Uh-huh.
Nope, I actually got it up farther.
Okay. Little by little.
I feel like I gotta let it go. Shoot. Ah.
Shoot.
If I could lift it up just a little bit, I'd have it well in these. Paracord on here. Get this down. Get it down. Sitting on top of the phone. So I can pick this up
The tongs.
and slide it in. Once it's in, we paracord it up.
Okay.
Paracord.
Alright, let's try it.
So here's the plan.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Marty, but this isn't to scale. Well, let's say I can pick it up like that.
Yeah, that'd be even
As soon
better.
as I get it, I can't though.
Okay.
Then I can lower it back down inside the bag.
Yeah, and then pull the bag out. Okay.
Now the bag comes out.
Okay.
Alright, let's put my phone down there and test it.
Alright. Oh my goodness.
Now,
Okay.
I just want to see if it'll go down far enough first. I'm getting it part way up,
Uh-huh.
and I can't
Like grip it?
grip it. Bag.
Are you for real?
For real?
Oh.
Get me out of the well.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
$600.
I know. Holy cow. It's a little dirty. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I think it's time for a drink. What, Ellie? When we first met with a technician in the yard, we learned that there were 54 volts of stray currents somehow making their way to the propeller shaft. There was evidence of electrolysis on the shaft, so now we'd be waiting on a new one. We needed to have an electrician come in and investigate the problem so we could plan our next steps. We worked hard for several days in mid-90-degree weather, washing the hull, then waxing, polishing, and buffing until she shone. Can you see the vertical line difference between the unfinished and finished areas? I hope so. What you doing?
Making cookies, and this is very tough right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is my PE for today.
Yummy. Once the new shaft arrived, it was time for the engine alignment. It's crazy how quickly the boat gets turned upside down. So we splash tomorrow. We go in the water. So tonight we have to fill our water tanks and do last loads of laundry, and then we're gonna get back in the water. Most marinas usually have a relatively cheap place to do laundry on site. We have to keep a constant supply of quarters. But you have to plan around other cruisers who are doing their laundry. Or always plan for the unexpected. Now that I'm done doing laundry, I'm going to fill up the water tanks. We have two 80-gallon water tanks, one on each side of the boat. On the port side, we also have an outlet for the waste tank, next to the one for filling up water. You don't want to mix these up. We can use the same winch handle for opening the tanks that we use for adjusting our sails.
And this one is almost empty, right?
It takes about 20 minutes and a lot of patience to fill each 80-gallon tank. We do have a filter on our sink for drinking water, but we also add water treatment to each tank. And we've got 4 ounces because...
That's what it says we need.
Well, we've got 2 80-gallon tanks of water.
That's 80 gallons of water treatment.
Which is really nice. We're going in the water. It's a lot more exciting to see a sailboat going into the water, especially when it's your home. We are back in the water. How's it feel to be back in the water?
It's quiet.
It is so much quieter, even down below.
We had the engine aligned, and I think that made all the difference. I think it was really tugging on the side of the boat, causing vibrations, and right now it's like a cat purring.
Yay. And our dinghy bracket is nicely welded. And we strapped it down. We had the dinghy in the water for 3 weeks while we were on the hard, and it has quite a bit of growth on it. So So that's one of our next tasks. Never ends. It feels so good to be back on the water, and returning to our St. Augustine anchorage feels like coming home. We decided to celebrate with a recipe that we learned from CJ and Elise, salmon rice bowls. What a perfect evening.
Continuing to get groceries.
This whole time that we've been in St. Augustine, we've been taking the dinghy into the municipal marina and walking about 4 miles round trip in order to get groceries. We only recently realized that we could just dinghy across the river to Volano Beach and walk about 1/4 of a mile to get to a great Publix grocery store. That's a big difference, especially when you're lugging a week's worth of groceries. These beautiful birds are usually not too far away from any dock, watching for fish. The snowy egret is smaller and has yellow feet. The great egret is taller with black feet. Sometimes Ellie chooses to stay on the boat instead of coming to get groceries. But on one grocery trip to Volano Beach, we got to see a pod of dolphins teaching their babies. She's definitely glad she didn't stay behind on this trip.
It's right there.
Yeah, it doesn't. Twisting into
Imagine how awesome it would be if the water was like completely clear. I know.
Yeah. They know where they're gonna come up. Soon after we returned to our anchorage in St. Augustine, we learned that a 2-day storm with gale force winds would be passing through.
Preparations for our windstorm that's coming. It's going to be coming from that direction, kind of the bridge, the land there. It's going to be the highest winds we've experienced so far. We're not too worried about that. We've reduced our windage. You're used to seeing our bimini. Our bimini is now stowed, so we've got a lot less windage on our boat.
We kept an eye on the storm all day, but then too late we got a text from a friend who was moored in the marina that we were in the wrong place to anchor. Mike and I discussed our options. We called the marina, but there was a waiting list of 30 for the mooring balls. We could try and move south of the bridge, but the storm was almost upon us and the south anchorage field was full. The storm has really thrown us around, and now the tide's going out, so we're kind of sideways to all the waves coming in. We stayed up most of the night, but our anchor held well. This anchor app shows the path of our boat during the storms. The following morning we learned that it was worse on the mooring balls. It was really rough, and a few catamarans even broke loose of their moorings. We slept on and off the next night of the storm. Our wind instruments showed we were reaching 40 knots of wind. Our friend texted us and said he saw an unattended sailboat sail past and run into the bridge. The more we thought about it, the happier we were that no one was anchored upwind of us, so at least we didn't have to worry about boats dragging into us. The storm blew itself out, and we took advantage of a clearing in the weather to take a quick trip into the marina to pick up mail. We were able to check out the stray sailboat, too. Just got jammed right up on there. Thankfully, we were able to get into the marina and back before this storm developed. I got a piece of mail from Rose and Lydia. Thank you. I'll write you back as soon as I can. Most of it is not that exciting, but I did get from Rose and Lydia. It's totally made our day. That afternoon, another storm was headed our way, this time with a crazy intense front. Every thunderstorm, I get nervous as I look up at our 58-foot metal mast sticking up in the sky like a lightning rod. All in all, this storm looked much worse than it actually was. It quickly passed, and the following day, Ellie and I were able to try out our new paddleboard.
Well, I just want to see how it goes, how easy it is.
Should I try to stand up?
No, not yet, not until we get to shallower water. Our first time on a paddleboard. Yeah. Stand up. Yeah, I can balance in this. The waves are breaking. Great. You want to get out? Sure.
Oh, it's nice and soft.
Oh, I have shoes. So crabby. Isn't it so pretty?
Oh my goodness, we don't have our earphones.
We ended up making the decision to switch to lithium batteries and reconfigure our DC and AC power system. The only hitch is we have to wait 2 weeks before we can get on the schedule, so we'll be in St. Augustine for just a little longer. While we wait, we'll practice sailing. We have left land.
Yeah.
Right now we're headed out into the ocean. We're going to practice using the sails, mainsail and head sail. This will be kind of the first real sail that we've had. The configuration of lines that help us control the sails on Rogue Fun is completely different than our old boat. Getting out there and trying things out is definitely a learning experience. The best part is turning off the engine once the sails are out. It is immediately peaceful. We're sailing!
We're sailing. Sitting out in the cockpit at the end of the day is always peaceful.
and you never know what will come past.
We're filming. Nice job.
We were just making dinner and Mike saw a kneeboard floating in the water that probably came from way across the bay. So we just deployed the dinghy in record time and he is bringing it back. So now Ellie and I will be able to kneeboard, and Mike, if he wants to, behind the dinghy. Yep. Did you do it? Did you get it?
Yeah, you're gonna be ready to catch?
Yeah. See? That's a pretty nice little wakeboard. We knew we wouldn't be in St. Augustine for too much longer. We definitely wanted to tour the lighthouse before we left, so one afternoon we took the long dinghy ride over to check it out.
I like that building.
Yeah. All right, Ellie, lift the 25-gallon Lighthouse fuel. The St. Augustine Lighthouse was illuminated for the first time on the night of October 15th, 1874. It takes 219 steps to get to the top.
Mom, look at it. Look at all the water out there.
Oh, it's so pretty. Mr. Zold, here's her PE for the day. The lighthouse is 165 feet high. What do you think?
I think it's tall.
Yeah, it's very high up.
Our anchorage by the cross seemed so far away.
Can't even see the. Oh, there's the.
Our last task before leaving St. Augustine was getting our lithium battery system installed. We got a slip at the marina for a few days while the install was completed. We removed our 3 old lead-acid batteries and replaced them with 4 lithium-ion batteries. How much is each of those?
120.
I think.
Oh,
It feels like approximate. But
they're like big Legos.
yeah.
The new batteries are lighter, take up less space, and give us more usable amp hours, so we don't have to worry about power away from shore. Before, we could only use our DC power outlets away from shore. Those are like the cigarette lighters in cars. AC outlets are like those in houses. Our new inverter will change the 12-volt DC power into 120-volt AC power, so we can use all of our AC outlets away from shore. Everything's done. I'm not the only one excited about heading south.
See how much fun it is?
I'm going to bed now.
So it's our last time crossing under Bridge Alliance for a while. We got up bright and early this morning to leave St. Augustine. We've loved staying here, but we've been here for about 3 months. So I think it's about time to keep going south. Join us next time as we experience a water shortage. Make our first true sailing passage up the Florida coast. Mike enters the bilge once again and encounter our worst thunderstorm yet.